The day I stopped blaming anyone for anything was the day I actually started living. Not just surviving recovery, not just staying sober, living. Up until that point, I thought I had already changed. I was clean, I was showing up to meetings, I was doing some work, but there was still this low-key resentment running the show. I blamed my childhood, my environment, my trauma, the system, even God. And as long as I was blaming something outside of me, I was still giving away my power. Then one day, I heard this line that hit me right between the eyes. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. That was the moment I took ownership. And I don't mean shame. I don't mean sitting in guilt and regret. I mean standing up and saying, this is my life now. I get to decide what happens next. I get to grow. I get to lead. That's what ownership is. And it's a superpower most people in recovery never tap into. So in this video, I'm going to give you 8 practical, spiritual, real-world ways to start taking full ownership of your recovery and your life. And I promise you, this will change everything. Let's go. Hey, ever since my TEDx talk came out, Relapse Prevention Failed, I've had a lot of people ask where they can get this shirt. So I went ahead and made a merch shop for you. It's a drop ship, so would love to get you some of these shirts. You can see them right below. Every one of these supports this channel and supports this message getting to more people in recovery. And if you get one, make sure to send me an email at adam@recoveredonpurpose.org, and I'd love to send you something else. Number 1, ownership isn't about fault, it's about freedom. A lot of people hear the word ownership and immediately think of blame. They hear it like, it's your fault you're addicted. It's your fault your life fell apart. But that's not what ownership means. Ownership is not about who caused the mess. It's about who's committed to cleaning it up. You're not responsible for the trauma you went through. You're not to blame for every wound or every system that failed you. But now that you're on the path of recovery, you are responsible for how you heal. And that is really good news because it means you're not stuck waiting anymore. You're not dependent on someone else's apology or a perfect situation or for your past to somehow disappear. You get to own your recovery, own your process, own your choices. And when you do that, you start to take your power back. See, the difference between shame and ownership is simple. Shame says, this is all my fault and I'm broken because of it. Ownership says, this might not be my fault, but I've got the keys now. I'm not staying here. And I'll tell you this, when you finally stop waiting for someone else to fix you, you'll be shocked at how quickly your life begins to change. Number 2, stop using victim language. Let's talk about the words coming out of your mouth. Because you can do all the right things, go to meetings, work with a sponsor, hit your step work, but if your language is still soaked in victimhood, your progress will always hit a ceiling. Phrases like, I can't change. That's just how I am. No one understands me. They ruined my life. Look, I get it. I've said every one of those things. And in the moment, they feel true. But they're not truth. They're traps. They're little sound bites that keep you small. They give your power away in real time. Here's a simple shift that changed the game for me. Every time I caught myself saying I can't, I swapped it with I won't. Not because it sounded nicer, but because it was honest. I won't go to that meeting. I won't call my sponsor. I'm choosing not to change. When you say I can't, you're claiming powerlessness. When you say I won't, you're telling the truth. And the truth is the only ground you can build on. So listen to yourself this week. Pay attention to how you talk about your recovery, your pain, your future. Because victim language might sound harmless, but it's robbing you of the ownership that could change your life. Number 3, identify the excuses that keep you stuck. Excuses are sneaky. They dress up like logic, they sound responsible, they feel safe, but make no mistake, excuses are fear wearing a nice button-up shirt. We say things like, I'll start Monday. I just don't have the energy right now. They triggered me. I've been through a lot. Sure, those statements might be rooted in real experiences, but if they're keeping you from doing what you know you need to do, they've become your prison. One of the biggest breakthroughs I ever had was sitting down and writing out the 3 things in my life I was avoiding. And then, next to each one, I wrote the excuse I had been using. It was humbling, but it was also empowering. Because as long as your excuse sounds true, you'll never challenge it. But once you expose it for what it really is, a defense mechanism, a comfort zone, a fear response, it starts to lose its grip. So here's something you can do right now. Write down one area of your recovery you've been stuck in and ask yourself, what excuse have I been telling myself here? Then Look at that excuse and say out loud, I'm done with that. Your future won't be built on excuses. It'll be built on action. Number 4, recognize entitlement and resentment as signs of powerlessness. Let's talk about two of the biggest enemies of ownership, entitlement and resentment. Entitlement says, the world owes me something. Resentment says, they wronged me, so I get to stay angry. And both of those mentalities are traps that keep us powerless, even if they feel justified in the moment. In early recovery, I carried around a lot of quiet entitlement. I felt like, look at all I've been through. I deserve a break. I deserve for things to go my way. But here's the truth. That mindset didn't give me peace. It gave me excuses to stay stuck. Same with resentment. I used to replay situations in my head over and over. What they did, what I should have said, how they never took responsibility. And guess what? They weren't thinking about me at all. But I was still giving them free rent in my mind and paying for it with my peace. Ownership means I get to release them, not because they deserve it, but because I do. It means I choose to let go, to forgive, to take my hands off the situation and ask, what can I do now? That question, what's my part, is the bridge between resentment and responsibility. And if you really want to grow, that's the bridge you've got to walk on. Number 5, make one hard decision you have been avoiding. There's always that one thing we don't want to face. It might be a conversation, a boundary you need to set, a toxic relationship you need to walk away from, or a commitment you've been scared to make because deep down, you know it'll stretch you. For me, there was a decision early in my recovery that I knew I had to make, but I kept putting it off. I blamed timing, I blamed circumstances, but the truth, I just didn't want to take responsibility for the fallout. When I finally did it, when I made that hard call, I didn't just see external results, something in me changed. I stopped feeling like a passenger in my own life and started feeling like the driver. That's what hard decisions do. They shake loose the fear and activate your faith. They prove to you that you're not trapped. You're just scared. And scared is a place we walk through, not live in. So here's what I want you to do. Think about the one decision you already know you need to make. The one that came to mind as I started talking about this. Now ask yourself, what's the cost of not making that decision? Because avoiding it is costing you more than confronting it ever will. And when you make that move, you'll feel it. The shift, the confidence, the clarity. That's ownership. Number 6, build an ownership habit with a journal and check-in. Ownership isn't just a mindset, it's a daily habit. You can say you take responsibility, but if you're not checking in with yourself regularly, it's easy to drift back into old patterns without even noticing. One of the simplest tools I use to stay grounded is a nightly journal check-in. It takes 5 minutes, but it makes a huge impact. Here's the prompt. Where did I take full ownership today? Where did I blame, avoid, or shift responsibility? What's one thing I need to take action on tomorrow? That's it. You don't need paragraphs. You just need honesty. Doing this daily builds self-awareness, and self-awareness builds growth. It helps you catch your blind spots before they become backslides. And over time, you'll start seeing patterns, not just in where you fall short, but in how much stronger you're getting. Because when you make ownership part of your routine, it stops being something you do occasionally and starts becoming who you are. This habit will change your recovery. But more than that, it'll change the way you show up in every area of your life. Number 7, rewrite the script of I can't. If there's one phrase that keeps people stuck in recovery, it's this: I can't. I can't forgive them. I can't stay clean. I can't deal with this right now. And every time you say it, even casually, your brain gets the same message. You're powerless. But here's the truth. I can't usually isn't accurate. It's not that you can't, it's that you won't, or haven't yet, or you're afraid to. And that's okay, but call it what it is. Try swapping it out with, I can't stay clean, becomes, I'm learning how to stay clean. I can't forgive them because I'm struggling to forgive, but I want to. I can't deal with this because I'm overwhelmed, but I'm gonna face it anyway. Do you see the shift? You're moving from powerlessness to process, from defeat to growth. And that's where ownership starts to show up in your language. Words matter, and the words you speak over yourself matter the most. So start catching yourself. When I can't slips out, pause, take a breath, and tell the truth. The kind of truth that builds strength, not limitation. You are capable, you are being stretched, and you are moving forward, one choice at a time. Number 8, surround yourself with people that call you higher. You weren't meant to do this alone. Ownership doesn't mean isolation. It means choosing your circle wisely, surrounding yourself with people who call you higher, not keep you where you've been. You need people in your life who will look you in the eye and say, hey, that sounds like victim talk, bro. Not to tear you down, but to remind you of who you are and what you're capable of. I've had mentors, brothers, and friends who've challenged me when I was drifting, not in my actions, but in my mindset. And those were the people who sharpened me the most. But it's not just about finding them. It's about becoming that person too. Be the one who lifts others by owning your own path. Speak life into the people around you. Don't coddle their excuses. Call out their potential. Iron sharpens iron. And you'll know when you're around the right people because you won't feel comfortable staying the same. So take inventory of your circle. Who pushes you? Who stretches you? And who do you need to seek out? Because ownership grows faster in the right environment, and you're responsible for creating it. All right, here's your challenge. Write down one thing you're still blaming someone else for. Just one. A situation, a person, a moment, something you've been carrying that still makes you say, if it wasn't for them. Now take the next 24 hours and ask yourself, what would this look like if I took full ownership of it? That doesn't mean it's your fault. It means you're done letting it control your future. And if you're serious about this, go deeper. Start journaling, start praying, start speaking truth over yourself, not limitation. Ownership is where everything changes. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because when you stop waiting for life to fix itself, you realize you're the one holding the pen now. You get to rewrite your story. You're not here to survive recovery. You're here to own it, to lead others out of the dark, to become the person God created you to become before addiction ever got in the way. So start today. Speak power. Make the hard decision. Forgive what needs to be forgiven and move forward with fire in your heart as you continue living recovered on purpose. If you're ready to make your 9th step amends and you want to learn how, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch some positive affirmations for addicts in early recovery, you can click right here.